This podcast and every other podcast on my channel is funded by our supporters on Patreon. This episode is actually also about 5 minutes longer on Patreon. Boys weren't recording video to start with, but I decided it's worth keeping as the Patreon version, so you can go get exclusive content if you want to check that out too. Now, to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Alanah.
Oh, I like your shirt. I'm in the middle of a story.
We're in a story, but we aren't recording video.
We are not recording.
It's one of those
video.
audio opening ones. We
apologize.
apologize. Troy
but
said
you need
not
to get
to.
all
I
of
don't know.
this.
I said we should do video. It's a professional
You
show,
guys
and Troy
can't
said
actually.
no.
It's like it's weirdly
Oh,
broken.
I know.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah, I
weird.
know. I found out they were like, you need an adult, and I went,
Yeah, it's
But
Austin
but
is
I
giving
can't
that
do it
privilege,
either.
but we're not trusted.
wait, so we have no video?
No. So I record through OBS, but the Zoom calls. Hi everyone, welcome to Play, Watch, Listen.
Hey, welcome to the show,
Don't do the
guys.
intro yet.
You're very weird.
There's like this weird thing about the recurring meeting is that it says we have to ask a host for permission
Is
to
that
record,
God?
but none of us are considered a host.
Let's pray. Heavenly
There's
Father.
like a fifth member of the podcast.
Like
we've
if
never
I try
met.
to
like,
record,
Holy
please
Spirit
ask the
that's
host to
running
give you
this.
permission. Who is
Please
the host?
come and let
Zoom?
us fill us with your
It's definitely the
ability
Lord,
to record.
yeah, 100%. Okay, but I am recording.
We have to go back to
Okay.
Troy's story because it's about a drunken encounter with David Cage. So
Oh, I have a story about that
Paging
too.
Dr. Schadenfreude, by the way. You just can't wait for this shit.
Let's go.
So first of all, I learned something about myself. I thought I was really, really good in interviews. And I came back, and Ashley is just... There's a very protective nature and relationship that I have with Ashley. Like we very quickly fell into those roles. And so she was like, I'm scared. I need help. I don't like being on camera, believe it or not. I don't like doing those interviews. So can you help me? I was like, sure. So all of the interviews, they'd be like, Troy, what's it like playing Joel or whatever? And Ashley, what's it like playing Ellie? And she'd be like, and she would give great answers. But what people saw from the interviews is me jumping in and speaking for her. And Neil pointed that out. He was like,
Probably doesn't come
I
across
need
great.
you to, he's like, you need to be aware of this. And I was like, I know exactly what you were doing, but I need you to see how it looks.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you for showing that to me.
that's thoughtful for him to tell you
Yeah.
that.
It's
for sure.
incredibly thoughtful, and that's one of the many, many moments when he's been my friend and going, I know your heart, but you need to see how this looks.
Yeah.
And he was like, you need to trust the fact that this isn't live. They can edit it. They can take out those pauses and cut to gameplay and just pull out. I was like, man, you're absolutely right. And I started watching him and how he is in interviews, and I learned a lot from him because if you'll ever watch him, they'll go, what are you hoping people will think of the HBO series? He goes, what do I think
It takes his time.
people... Yeah, and he reiterates
Also
the question.
repeating the question is the oldest trick
I
in
was
the
like,
book.
what a great active listening thing. And
It also makes it easier for them to cut it. If you
For
repeat
sure.
if you repeat the question,
Yeah.
it's
And
helpful
somebody-
to them.
I can't remember who it was that told me this, and I wish that I could give them credit because it was really helpful, but they're like, a bite and a button. That's all they need. They need a bite that they can lead off with for the headline, and they need a button to get out of your interview. So don't go, and, you know what I mean? That's kind of, that's what it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's like, no, we need to be able to take the bite and get the button. That's all you need, a bite and a button. But
Yeah, from
that's one of the
doing
that's
so
one of the
many
lessons.
interviews to like I used to do these mini documentaries. It was my favorite thing to do at IGN, which I think probably is why I ended up on the path that I'm on. Is that we used to go to studios and interview a whole bunch of people and like actually see the game in the development process. They were really, really fun to make, and there was some people who would like just clearly not press trained. Where the problem would be that no matter how many times you would tell them, they would answer the question without starting
the
this
question in the
in
answer.
any way. Like, so if I'm going to ask you, like, well, why is her hair like this? It's like that because it's red. I'm like, I literally have to cut that straight away. Like,
The reason
cut
why
it.
her hair is red is because we decided that we wanted to do this.
Right.
What
It's
are you
a really
most
great
excited about
question.
this? The thing that I'm
Ultimately,
most
when you're
excited
thinking about the color of a character's hair,
There
there's
you
a lot
go.
of reasons you do it.
And that's why we have
Boom.
Mike on the show.
I just pointed to Mike Biffle this way. He's this way to me.
Media
I don't know.
training. I loved it. I did like 3 days of intensive media training, like in an early job, because they wanted to put me on camera for something. It was so useful. It's such a good skill.
You
to
should
gain.
just
So
quit.
useful.
I got nowhere else to go.
there are
Just
there are also
crying in the
just
rain.
like
Throw it up.
There are also just like some gross things that media will do that I think comes with that's harder to train, that you have to learn over time. Is like
you have to unfortunately have to walk into one of those traps in order to learn the lesson.
They are really looking for a sound bite for certain things, and like some questions are being asked because they're planning to write a specific headline because they know that's what'll generate clicks, and that can be pretty hard to navigate.
Do you think The Last of Us Part 2 is the most controversial game? Can you please repeat that phrase?
And like, what's your thoughts on currently popular controversy? I'm sorry, I'm not really caught up on any of that. But
do you feel that crunch culture is here to stay, and why do you think that it is here to stay?
I have had to, like, every time that I get an interview request where somebody's asking me to talk about sexism, I say no, because there are so many. It would be majority of them. They ask me to talk about, tell me about how badly women are treated. And it's been that way for a really long time. And I'm always like, no. So now if anyone wants to interview me, I'm like, don't ask me about this, because at a certain point, it's all any woman who ever gets interviewed talks about. And I'm at a point now where I would much prefer to talk about, here's how I got where I am. And here's all the cool women I work with and all the cool stuff that we get to do. Please, more women join the industry. And it's so many. And you see the headline they're looking for is like, women gamer abused again.
As a journalist, do you feel that, I don't feel this is a proper platform to have that conversation, is an appropriate response to that? Or like, would you, I hate to make you play kind of devil's advocate, but like, would you look at that and go, Troy Baker refuses to answer a question? Or
I never did that kind of shit, because my interviews were always like about business perspectives on dev.
You know how people are.
Well, so yeah, I would say
terrible journalists. Like, I'm going to make up a name. Greg Miller.
I would say generic white American man name.
To be clear, Greg Miller is an acclaimed voice actor. He's not a journalist. He is a masterful. He's possibly my favorite voice actor I've ever worked with.
Yeah, one of the best.
He's just a joy. He's just one of the best. The best, I'd say.
I think if
he changed the game, man. He changed the game.
Say, I'm not really going to talk about that today. Then yes, you'd be fine.
Okay, great.
Also, media training trains you just to not answer.
Yeah,
if you're asked a controversial question, you just circle it, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened at GamesCom,
if you're boring, they won't write it, basically.
If people ask me the sexism question, even when I've asked them not to, I just go, come on, I just want to talk about the fun stuff. Yes, that's a facet of it, but let's keep talking about the positives. I'm really interested in getting more women in the industry. And then that's it.
And also, you answer in a way that doesn't contain the question, so it's harder to edit it. Like, there's lots of ways that if you want to avoid the thing, you can avoid
when
the thing.
Asked,
which is always funnier when you see like some person who's not very well media trained kind of fall into a big trap, which I know I'm planting the seeds here for when I inevitably do mess up an interview. This is the clip someone will send to me.
Look at him. Failure.
I also had a couple of drinks in me, and when David Cage and I were actually finally introduced, I wasn't the kindest to him.
What did you say to David Cage?
You don't need to get into the details of it. Maybe there were some punches
his
thrown.
level of polys, or
I made one of the documentary style video things that I'm talking about at Quantic, and David Cage was lovely. Very nice man. Very, like, I think a little bit nervous to have press in the office. And this was, I think, before the inappropriate shit in the office was found there.
Wait, was there inappropriate shit found in the office there?
I really don't want to, like, misrepresent this, but they found, like, people had, like, photoshopped female employees' faces on the porn type shit.
I remember that.
Pretty terrible. Yeah. Like, dude, if somebody did that to me, I would have quit. How? Jesus Christ. Anyway, we went out to dinner, and David Cage made me eat snail. I wasn't interested. He made me do it, and I spent that whole dinner trying to figure out how to crack him. I was like, how do I get this man to like open up and like be snail. more human and less businessy? And the way that I figured it out was to talk about console wars. Really just lit up David Cage, made him a very different person. He was very enthusiastic about talking about console wars of all things. Strong opinions. Who'd have guessed?
Are there, like the South Park episode, is what I'm assuming you're talking about?
Just like the South Park episode, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
It's a great 3 episodes. You should watch it.
A lot
As
of
long
them.
as
They
it
go.
passes in fire. Mike looks like he's frozen, but he's not.
He's just
No.
very
Now he looks like he's just
thoughtful.
high.
Mike's been media trained. Mike's going to let you guys carry on having this conversation.
Mike's not available now. What we were talking about, Alanah, Pearce, I think you'd be very proud of your boys, is the fact that there's so much shit that I want to talk about. Dune Awakening open world survival game revealed?
It's a lot of cool
it's Gamescom
words.
today, huh?
Yeah, it's been a bit
That's
of a
why-
Gamescom. Yeah,
that's what
it's been
led up to
2 hours
Gamescom.
of nonsense, yeah.
I was
So,
like,
Good
what?
nonsense, but...
I actually can talk about Pentiment because the embargo is up tomorrow morning, so it'll be fine for the show. Pentiment, the
this is
Obsidian game.
Funcom?
I see that? Was that in
It
Keely's
was
thing?
in the Xbox showcase, and you'll recognize it. It's a historical narrative adventure game, not an RPG, which is a thing that they were really explicit about when I saw it. It's a passion project made by a small team at Obsidian, 13 devs, which is like so cool. And to me was like, this has got to be a Game Pass thing. Like without Game Pass, surely they wouldn't have been able to do this. And it's basically all of the art is styled based on actual art from that era. Like they took
Illuminated manuscripts, right? Like it's that.
that's not
What?
that's not the phrasing they used, but its
okay.
art style is referenced from early modern woodcuts and late it is late medieval illumination.
If I was going to be Mike Bithell, I would go down and I have 2 illuminated texts.
Do you?
I do.
Really?
Cool.
There was a place in London where I fell in love with them, and they're 15th century Italian.
That's
I love
awesome.
them.
That's
That's
really
the
cool.
Pentiment style, and it's really cool. Also, my PC is really loud today. Sorry, listeners, you might be able to hear. I probably need to put more coolant in.
Oh, like
looks
the
really
PC. PCs are always loud.
Yeah, it's rattling for some reason. So yeah, it's an unusual time and place for the game. Like I've never seen anything in this era. It's kind of like the revolution of 1525, which is like I don't know anything about anything in that era. And a really interesting thing that they were telling us about with the hands-on preview was everybody's religious in this period of time. And I feel like I've never played a game where they have to be historically accurate. Everybody has to be religious. So you are dealing with people while you're solving murders, a series of murders, but you don't have any DNA because it doesn't exist. And everybody's religious. So you'll deal with some people who might be like, well, that's what God wanted. So it's going to be like a murder mystery in a setting that almost
You
opposes
need
solving
to- you
murders.
need
And I was like,
to-
this sounds fucking cool.
You need to Google Cadfael. It was a show when I was a kid. It's a British detective
Cadfael.
procedural set during medieval times.
Is this a comedy? It looks like a comedy.
Brother Cadfael is the main fictional character in a series of historical murder mysteries written between
Brother
1977 and 1994
Cadfael.
by the linguist scholar
Yeah, I think it
Edith
was a series of
Concentrate.
books based on a TV show based on a series of books, but it
Played
was
by
a
Derek
big deal in the
Jacobi.
UK. Yeah, he's awesome in it.
Very cool.
So yeah,
Always.
similar idea, like medieval detective story.
I'm
There's
really
such
excited about it. Like, I always thought it looked cool, and it's very different from anything Obsidian's done before in that it's not an RPG, it's an adventure game. And they have a lot of really cool accessibility options as well, because they were talking about, and I think they're probably right, this game being appealing to people who don't play video games. So, like, if someone's talking to you about a certain character and you don't remember that name, you can immediately, like, click on the name and it will just back up into this, like, glossary that will be like, it'll show you a picture of them and remind you who they were. And I was like, that fucking rules. That's a really good idea for a murder mystery. Like, especially even if you're playing it for half an hour and then you put it down for 2 weeks and you're like, wait, who is that? But they also had a lot of really good accessibility stuff, which I really wanted to shout them out for actually talking about in a preview. A lot of companies don't do that. They're like, the disabled gamers can figure it out on launch, but they did it ahead of time. So there's obviously the glossary for everything, which is really, really cool. And they've put a lot of effort into the UI, and their font rendering was like fascinating. Like I would do a full interview with them about font rendering. They have each character is rendered.
Getting inked in real
Yes.
time, right? Yeah.
Each character is
Damn.
rendered one at a time, and each letter is drawn one stroke at a time, and the whole thing was done by hand.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And
Also,
it looks like physical ink, so when it comes on, it's all shiny, and then it slowly dries, and the pages like bleed into each
Spreads
other.
A little bit, bleeds.
And
yeah,
some
it's
characters have different kind of text based on what their jobs are, so that the text will change. But while having that, they also still manage to give you font scaling. and a bunch of different font features for legibility and readability. And that stuff is like not easy to do.
No.
So they have to do it from the
think of
jump.
it from moment one. Like,
Exactly.
We're
I
just starting
so
to be able
happy
to
about
add
that.
it to our stuff because we made an effort. Font scaling is one of those things that's easy as long as you decide to do it on the first day of development.
If you do it late, it's really hard. Like God of War
Really
2018
hard.
was criticized for the font being too small, and I think
We've
it took
never
a
been
really
able
long
to
time
add
to fix.
it post, so we're now doing that with future games. We're doing that from day one for that reason.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It's
use
super
this-
cool, and I'm again just so happy that they spoke about it, while also having it like, you know, clearly not take away from anything. Their artistic vision with the font is still really on point. Like they have scratches and corrections in the parchment. If somebody like corrects themselves, they'll still write it, but then they'll scratch it out and then they'll go on. It's like, that's so cool. Like I just thought the font stuff was really, really, really neat.
And it's good. It's good that I love that they're talking about that in the context of like it establishes that artistic vision can be maintained while doing the accessible stuff, and it sets a precedent.
Always used as an excuse.
Because that's exactly. You always see people, rarely game developers, normally audience members saying, "Oh well, we don't want to compromise the." But it's always
what the
nonsense.
devs wanted.
Just work.
No, you can do both. Sorry,
Yeah,
Troy.
so it's
like-
good to have a
cut you
good
off a million times
example. Sorry.
Oh,
Troy.
no. It always, I think the challenge of not having it feel tacked on or a feature as opposed to having it be baked into the game and to me is always the goal. I don't think that anybody who's going to use those features wants to feel like, and we did this for you, as opposed to, no, we've just built our experience to where it is truly accessible to everybody.
And it's also
I think
just
that's always the goal.
Things that get me about like a lot of the accessibility conversations, I could rant about this forever. I made a whole award show about it. Is people saying, I don't need accessibility, but then when they're sitting on their TV and the font's too small and they don't think to go into the accessibility menu and make the font bigger, everybody needs accessibility all the time.
I've made this
but do you think
argument before, but people need to think ahead a bit more because I want to be playing games in retirement, and this is not going to be working in the same way as it does
years
now
from
when
now.
I'm in
A
my
pause
70s.
menu
Yeah.
is a great example of an accessibility option in the context of some disabilities can be temporary. Temporary disability is a couple who's just had their first child. That is a temporary disability in that you are currently not able to do things that would require your attention. If you can't play Elden Ring unless you can pause a boss fight. You got to stop. You have to have the ability to stop. That's an accessibility option for somebody in that circumstance, like a circumstantial disability that's not permanent.
Never looked at it
Still
that
a lot
way.
of fucking people. Like,
I think the conflation of accessibility being to someone who is in a wheelchair or who is blind or something like that, as opposed to, no, there's just like you said, that your life is going to change and you want the baby. I don't think that games should always be like, how easy can we make it?
No.
But I think building it into the narrative, building it into the design of it is always the goal.
yeah, I'm really, really proud of the accessibility team for God of War Ragnarok. The amount of accessibility options is like so impressive and
Can I ask, like, how big is an accessibility team on a AAA game nowadays? Like, how many people can you answer that? Like,
I don't know
in a
if I can
public
answer
setting?
that. It's
Okay,
not that
fair
big,
enough.
but
It wasn't
Yeah.
that big with Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
It was,
But it's
and
a
that's
team,
what was
some
so
of the-
impressive.
so it's multiple people.
it is
are-
multiple
are
people, and it's some of the
dedicated to
same
that
people.
task. That's
Some
really
of the people on our team came from Last of Us Part 2. So
Yeah,
That's
but there was
great.
like, I think there was, I don't want to be misquoted, so please, if anyone knows the answer to this, or if there's someone from the studio watching, listening, or playing, I think it was like 4 people
that sounds right, is what I will
that
say.
were like, and
That
that's
sounds
what's
right,
pretty
okay.
much right.
But that's
That-
really
that
cool
was-
because AAA can afford to do that. Like, obviously, in an indie scale, like we can't have one.
Sure,
we
but
can't
also-
we can't have one person dedicated to this. But the
The
idea that
amount-
AAA can kind of set these standards that we can then duplicate cheaper
Right.
is great.
But the amount of robustness that those systems had, and Neil even says, he was like, they were so passionate about it. I was like, okay, we can do this much. And they were like, we're kind of going to go further with it and really, really ratcheted it up. That's what's impressive to me.
Yeah,
I
our
also-
accessibility team is like they will not stop ever. They're like, we will do as much as we possibly can, and I've never seen like a group of people that dedicated. And to anybody on the team who has any kind of disability, they're like, what do you need? What can we do? What's the problem? And then they'll be like 2 days later, they'll be like, would this solve the problem? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, let's try and implement it. And then suddenly it's like, hey, it's in. Like, it's so cool. They're so impressive. There's a blog post on
It's a fascinating
PlayStation
cross-discipline as well, presumably. And again, I'm guessing here, I know you can't confirm any of this, but you would have to have like a designer, a coder, an artist. Like, it's an interesting intersection of a bunch of skill
inside
sets.
that team.
It's a commando unit, right? It's what's his name? A-Team. It's the A-Team. It's just
I got it with those two notes. George Papard.
We don't need
I
Austin.
didn't expect you to say A-Team. That wasn't what I expected.
I'm so proud of you right now.
you.
Just move over here.
But it is that thing of like you have that. It's been really interesting, and again, like I guess similarly KG to you, Alanah, but like hiring in some people recently. We hired in a designer who basically was on such a team within a bigger studio before, where she was just working with just like one of everything essentially, and they would be brought in to do one big job and then get out. And it's just a fascinating. It's almost like AAA now it's adopted kind of almost a more indie approach of having little siloed teams that can kind of move around and help different people and do different things. It's interesting seeing that cross-pollination, and then it works backwards that like all of that R&D that AAA can spend money on with this stuff, I can pick up a copy of God of War for $50 and I can absolutely kind of copy every good idea in there for accessibility, and I get that for free essentially.
Yeah, I mean it definitely was like cross studio, I imagine, at least, with like Last of Us Part 2 having more accessibility options than any game ever. Worth noting, Saints Row also is extremely accessible. I feel like there's a lot of negativity surrounding that game, but also very, very, very accessible.
I saw like all the screenshots from someone on Twitter. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
There's people, and not to focus on the negative when you are clearly underlined.
Are you in
positive.
that game, Troy?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No. All new team, which is fine. But I'm curious, why?
Do you have a Saints Row?
Yeah. Why are they getting such shade, as it were? Like what's? I've just seen
not reviewed great. Right?
It's not reviewed great.
It's been an interesting one. I don't think the game is very good. However, I'm a little bit conflicted in seeing some of the reviewers, and this is not the more important part. The game, I could list you a long list of reasons why it's not very good, but is some of the reviewers are the same people on Twitter who are like, stop being mean to devs, but then their reviews are like so clearly reveling in not enjoying it. Some of it's like, damn, you went real hard on this. Of course, be honest, like 100%. But some of it's like, oh, did you need to like make that almost personal?
We've all had reviews like that where you're like, you didn't like it, but you didn't need to like insult
enjoy
the team
not liking
personally.
it. Yeah. And I like when I was playing the first hour and my impressions are negative, and I was just like, man, I just feel bad for this team. I'm sure they worked really hard on this, and it feels to me like it had a really low budget, but they were still trying to make a big budget game, and so there's a disconnect. You can see shit missing.
They also bought it pretty cheap, you know.
True.
So it's not like. There was a lot. I don't know if they're using existing assets. I don't know. I didn't think that it was being built from the ground up. You know what I mean? Like you've got
the horrible truth
IP.
of most video games is they're made from the ground up, unless it's the same team working in the same engine on the direct sequel.
Yeah,
exactly. So they'll have built a lot from the ground up. Like there's so much. Where even if you get the tech, even if you get all the assets, so much of what makes a game is the knowledge of the team that made it, that if you move it to a different team, you kind of end up having to reset a lot. It very rarely just goes smoothly.
That would be a very interesting thing to find out with that wholesale, bargain basement, whatever, after THQ Fallout, which was still so bizarre to me. Like THQ was on top, and then all of a sudden it's like, good night, everybody. That was the most bizarre thing. It made me realize that Giants 2 can fall off of basically one real misstep, focusing on the wrong thing. They went hardware, and they shouldn't have. That's my assessment. But I mean,
did they go hardware? Were they Zombie U? No, that was Ubisoft.
The U-Draw.
The U-Draw. I worked on a U-Draw game.
They were like they were hedging their bets on that hard.
That was the graphics tablet for the Wii. Yeah, I made some prototypes for that way back when.
What was it like to work on?
Not great.
Is your eye twitching? But like I don't know what that looks like for, Deep Silver and THQ Nordic and all of that, like what all you really get when you, because there was also the Darksiders got bought. And I remember we were on set for Infamous when that was all kind of coming down. And I was like, please somebody buy Darksiders.
Yeah.
Just because Joe Mad had worked so hard on that. Now he's off making his own games too. But that was something that was really cool that had it was a great IP. It just never really got a shot, and here was an opportunity for some other studio to go, we loved this, let's make this.
Well, it's Gunfire, who thankfully
made
largely
Saints Row?
didn't make Darksiders. So the team who ended up making Darksiders 3 had largely made Darksiders 1 and 2, and it was a lesser scale, but I still really enjoyed Darksiders 3.
Yeah, well, it was a totally different game, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. It felt like we used the name for a different game. Like they did the same thing with Blood Rain. Graphically and everything else, it was kind of
but it wasn't like the
like Blood Rain became like Castlevania. It was weird, like a Metroidvania kind of game. I don't have to talk about that. I do want to. I'm curious. Without looking, don't cheat. Derek Jacobi, dead or not?
I don't know what words
he's not. I think he's still in stuff. I swear I saw him in something a little while ago. Yeah,
I was like, man, I loved
Great
him.
actor.
It's so. Oh, he's still alive.
Oh, yay.
Oh, man.
Anyway, wanted to say Pentiment, stoked about those accessibility options. Game looks
Derek
very
Jacobi's
cool.
life and death status.
Derek
I really
Jacobi.
want to play it.
Can't wait to see these timestamps.
Great timestamps.
Wait.
But it is, because Troy mentioned it, which I didn't even realize, Gamescom.
June? Yeah.
So I look at us being on after the news is
Yo,
dropped.
and your boys
And
lined
talking
up ready
about
to talk about House of the Dragonsvilles.
We could do that too. Look at us go.
I even chose a
I've
game.
not seen it, so
There's
I will
no
know.
spoilers
Damn it.
in that first episode, really. One thing, maybe.
No, I don't care.
Oh,
like
no,
it's
no,
all
no.
fine. It happened like 200 years before Game of Thrones. I know how it
Fucking
ends. I know how
Lily
it
needs
works
to
out,
be
it's fine.
watered so often. Bitch, stand up. It looks like it's dying when it hasn't been watered for 3 days. And it's like, I'll kill
Just
myself.
shout, bitch, stand up
Yes.
when it plants.
What is
Get
that,
up.
Lily?
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, it's a
just
peace
checking.
lily. But
That's
the
good.
peace lily that I have upstairs is beautiful, luscious.
Lilies are the
one.
hardest thing to keep alive.
You're,
I
you're yelling at
disagree.
the concept of peace. I love it.
I've killed 3 ivy. And so now I
You
just
have
don't.
war and peace.
I just give up on ivy. The lilies are okay.
It's the ivy.
That thing right
Times
there,
was
that's a
less
ZZ
times.
plant. Easiest thing to keep alive on the planet. You water it once a month and it just grows. Highly recommend.
My Monstera, it's exactly the same thing. Can't kill it.
Monsteras they're hardy too. This is a money tree. Those are a little bit harder. He's doing
Those are the hardest to do.
you get here?
I was
Sorry.
actually
I yelled at a
thinking of you
plant.
guys. I was thinking of you guys when I was watching the House of the Dragonville.
Yeah.
Because of Alana's hair.
Every time I'm like, House of Dragon, House of the Dragon, House of Dragons,
House of Dragons. Yeah.
House of Dragons. Got it. They did a great job marketing that so people know what it is. They, to me, put on display in the first episode everything that people were like, I'm not so sure about this, and just systematically just ticked the box on every one of these things. Like, are we going to do the dick thing? Nope. We're going to chop off a penis within the first
show it to
30 and show it. This isn't a
You're
game
really
of
selling
dicks.
me on this show, guys.
Moving
Can't wait.
on.
What is it? What happened to like the boys? It's there's a theme emerging in TV at the moment. There's some,
Penis? I think it's actually some equality. It's not always about showing how many.
No, not showing penis. Fair play. The violence inflicted.
The great
therein.
emasculation, as it were. Fig leaves on all of the statues.
It is a theme.
I really enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was good. There was some stuff that I was like, background looks
We
strange.
don't need to do that.
But
the whole labor scene.
yeah,
Nope.
yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Didn't need that.
But yeah, I think that affected a lot of people. There were some things that, and I like just felt this way, and it could have been just like based on the mood I was in when I watched it. It could be nothing. Where I felt like they were like, well, we have to do this because it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like it was. I didn't feel like it was a laborious thing. I felt like they were like getting out in front of it. To me, I thought they were like, let's
feel laborious, but-
address this issue. Are we going to be violent? Yes. Are we going to show a lot of nudity? Yes. Are we going to set up sibling rivalry. Yes. I just thought they did a lot of clever things. The use of the theme even was kind of cool.
They did a really good job of introducing that many characters very quickly in a way that made sense.
I have a prediction.
Well, that was what was great with the first season of Game of Thrones, right? Was just very good.
Yeah, it was like, what does Twitter and Game of Thrones have in common? They both have 140 characters.
Hey,
I have a prediction to make. Do you think it's spoilery if I make it?
I don't know what it is, so I can't tell you if it's spoilery.
I think Mike Biffle.
It's not looking good for Sean Bean, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Dead.
I have a prediction about that too. He's the only one that I feel is miscast as the king. It's what's his name from Hot Fuzz. That's all I can see.
Paddy E. Considine, right?
Yeah. I was like,
Paddy Considine?
I think he's great. I just feel like I see his wig. But the other guy from Gotham, is that what he's from? What's the devil show? What was the Lucifer? That's where he's from, right?
I've seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but that's the brother.
Matt Smith?
Is that Matt Smith?
Doctor Who?
Doctor.
Yeah, that's where I know him from.
Wow, I'm so surprised that you didn't know that, and I
think
did.
nerd culture just kicked you out, Troy.
The whole
what the
time.
fuck?
Sorry, I have a weird relationship with Doctor Who.
Okay.
It's just, I grew up when it wasn't cool, and I watched it, and so now all of a
it's
sudden...
never been cool.
We've talked about this before.
I'm on the Doctor Who podcast. Doctor Who's never been
No,
cool.
it's still not cool.
No, but it was like super... Like,
no one ever says, hey, you know what the cool kids are watching? Doctor Who.
Well, now the cool kids are watching it, but it's like, it was like Red Dwarf and then Doctor Who. So like, it was like Buck Rogers in Doctor Who. It was sci-fi camp, but...
I'm amazed the Red Dwarf made it to Texas.
Oh man, I loved that show.
That's awesome.
It was so
I love
funny.
that. I'm a big Red Dwarf fan, but I cannot imagine that playing.
I
in
met
America.
that dude in Wales, and I was just like freaking out because he was literally that character. What's his name?
Oh, you mean
Vampire. Get there.
Lister?
Yes. So cool. Such a cool. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. I was like, I just want to start smoking again with you. It's just like so cool.
Doesn't he host, I think he hosts the Gadget Show now, doesn't he, or something? He hosts,
does something.
A TV show in the UK. He Robot Wars for a while, which again is just very
But he's also
British.
like big music guy too. So he's a fucking rock star. I think that Matt Smith's character will be the leader of the White Walkers.
Are you just basing it on the fact that Matt Smith looks a bit like a White Walker?
He's a very interesting looking man. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if that is by design. Like they were like, we can draw, like you can see it, but I think they also set it from the very beginning. It sets up the timeline. I'm like, damn, they are really playing the long game here, because if the whole goal is to get to the murder of the Mad King, they gave themselves a long runway to get there. Like that's typically how you'd probably end the series, right?
Well,
is by the handoff from one show to the next.
I think it said it was 152 years.
It's like
172 years before
Daenerys is born.
Yes.
So that's an extra
And the
like
Mad King
15
was
years
her
before the TV show.
Granddad?
No, it's further back than that, I think.
No, I thought it was further. No, because Jamie Lannister's the one that killed him.
I have the
You're
Game
right.
of Thrones,
Jamie Lannister
encyclopedia downstairs.
Yeah,
Jamie
Jamie
Lannister did
Lannister
kill him, so it can't
was
have
the
been that long
Kingslayer.
ago. Yeah.
So it was.
Oh, so you're way back then in the... Maybe there's been multiple Mad Kings.
This is going to suck. I'm not a person who knows a ton about Game of Thrones. This is going to drive people nuts.
There's people that are freaking out right
'cause,
now
wait,
that are just
so
like...
Robert Baratheon didn't... It was Jamie that killed
Jamie Lannister killed, and
why
then...
he's the
for
Kingslayer.
Robert Baratheon.
I don't even think they were like in
How long were the
cahoots.
They weren't
Baratheons
in
in
cahoots.
power?
I think Baratheon kind of came down
then why
and
were
basically
why
while
did
the throne was
Lannisters not take
weak and took
King's
over.
Landing? Why did they not take it back?
Oh no,
No.
I know this. Like there is a point in my life where I would have
there's a
known
whole
this.
Sorry
Yeah,
to
there was
the
a
people
reason
who
why
like Game
Robert-
of Thrones. I
Yeah, Robert
apologize.
Baratheon was
Five-paragraph explanation in the comments is going to be
had-
great though.
Somebody right now is going, motherfucker.
I literally have the history book downstairs. I could go and get it for us.
sorry.
You had 5 or 7 years to be on top. You had your time. I know. I think there was a whole conversation between.
It was Jamie Lannister.
Yeah, I knew that. But the reason why Robert Baratheon became king, there's a whole conversation between he and Ned Stark about that. About
I thought it was because
he
it was
did
like destabilized, and he basically took that moment of weakness as an opportunity. And
yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Go.
Jaime Lannister was one of Aerys Targaryen's Kingsguard. So that's where I was confused. Is that Jaime Lannister was in the service of the
Yeah,
Mad
he was
King.
king. That's
Yeah,
how
he
he
betrayed
I
him.
didn't
I knew
realize that.
that.
I thought he was like working for the Baratheons for some stupid reason because I'm misremembering the entire show. So long ago.
Man, we were so into it, dude. We would.
up until that last season, right?
I thought it got bad
massive.
before
It was
the last
cultural juggernaut.
It's so
Say again, sorry?
disappointing because you had something that was so fucking good that just went.
But honestly, the thing that I think made it so good, and what I'm hoping this thing is again, is the return, which has already started to become a trend more, like event viewing and water cooler talk and being able. Oh, hello everybody!
is.
This is Austin Wintory. I am
Definitely
clearly
at
in
home.
my studio.
Definitely at home. I love
He
that he's
doesn't have
left
audio
the
yet.
Play Watch Listen logo in there.
And
Hey,
himself.
there he is.
I am clearly here, still in Burbank.
Yes, exactly.
G'day, mate.
Yes, with the logo stolen straight off of a fucking
YouTube thumbnail. Yeah.
Wow. Quick question: why did Robert Baratheon become king and not one of the Lannisters?
Well, he married a Lannister. That was
Shut up, Mike. God damn it.
It's 6 a.m. I don't know.
What
I
does
wanted
the
to
time
take
have to do with it?
Oh,
I'm literally just here to say hi, and then I gotta go.
that is the most
No.
believable performance you've ever given, Troy. That was beautiful.
Dude, it's been an epic episode.
It
Robert
has.
claimed the Iron Throne because he started the war and killed Prince Rhaegar personally.
Oh, that's
Rhaegar was the
right.
Because he killed Rhaegar.
Rhaegar the Horrible. I remember that.
We figured it out. Thank you, Austin. How's Australia?
Thanks, Austin.
It's good. It's very upside downy.
That's, yeah.
We called it. That's a callback and you don't even know it. I was like, Austin's going to come in here and I was like, well, we're going to have to flip his video
I wonder
because
if I can do that. I would if I could. No, I don't have that ability.
you can do it.
I don't have that ability.
Do it in post.
You tell my country people that I said hi.
All of them.
Yeah, they all keep asking why you're not with me.
How's Alanah?
Like,
How's she
I
getting
told
on
you this
there?
before
And
that every time I ever meet a composer, they're like, "Where's Austin?" And I'm like,
he's the only one you know.
I mean, I don't
they're always like,
understand why
"Austin,
you're
yes."
bothering to meet other composers to begin with. So it's,
I know,
you
I
good
know.
trouble.
I apologize, but sometimes I do, and they always ask about you, like it's like we're related. How's
Are
Austin?
you?
It is the same.
Could be,
It is
could
the
be.
same here. Everyone's
Wait, are
like,
you?
"Are you even allowed to be here without her?" Like, I need like a local.
Oh, you need a visa there, Austin, to be here. I do know Alanah Pearce. Ah, why don't you
Turns
say so?
out you
Go on.
do need a visa.
You do, yes.
I have a MasterCard, so I think I'm okay.
I got my green card.
Yeah.
Yes. I pick it up tomorrow.
Your green card?
Oh, that's
Oh,
What does that
Congrats.
mean?
Thank you. It means
Foreigner.
that I am legally a resident of the country I've resided in for the last 7 years.
Yeah, it turns out that the spoilage that one experiences with an American passport that basically makes all borders open borders for you, like how insanely spoiled we are.
Mm.
Australia was like, not so much.
Doesn't care.
And yeah, I had no idea. I had to download. It made me realize the prior times I've been here, I was like brought here by like an orchestra or whatever, and they took care of it. And I didn't realize because, yeah, I'm standing at the counter at LAX checking in, and they were like, your passport's not scanning. You probably don't have the visa. And I thought, oh my God, I'm like, most visas don't go through instantly. But they actually do have a system to make it go
Canadian
through.
one
instantly. I
does.
almost
The
got
US
He-
one does
so
too,
far.
actually. The
He, like,
US.
slid a 20 across the counter.
I've done
Like-
an Esther while landing before.
Yeah,
and
I've done an
forgotten that,
ESTA, the Canadian one, while at the airport.
I've done an ESTA
Yeah, see,
before.
this one they wouldn't let me leave LA until it was taken care of.
Damn.
Solid job,
and I-
Troy. I was impressed.
You guys in the comments.
I
Mike
heard
Bithell in
it.
the comments. Yeah, just choose not to acknowledge it.
I'm just the first commenter. That's my view of my role.
Mike and I have been hanging out
I'm
longer.
just the first audience member to this podcast. That's all I'm here for.
Austin, why are you in Australia for the first time?
I'm doing work.
Making
I'm
music.
sure it'll all come to light eventually.
Cool. Doing
Um,
work.
Doing work in
yeah,
Australia.
no, I'm doing some recordings. with a certain Australian-based development team that I am known to be collaborating with.
Kylie Minogue.
And
Definitely.
but yeah,
David Cage.
It's
Team
been
Bondi.
fun.
Do you have a
yes.
good David Cage story about getting drunk and uncomfortable with David Cage, Austin?
Because I do.
Sadly, I can't hold a torch to Troy's, but no, it's been awesome. You know, a few
Cool.
days. I walked the day I got here. I walked the entire width of Melbourne, which was awesome. Spent
whole
like
thing?
50
day.
feet, turns out. It's only 50 feet.
Pretty big.
It's
ride on the back of a
long, but it's
kangaroo
not
is
wide.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, I know. It was like a 6-hour walk. It was awesome.
You
Damn.
are a walker. When you travel, you do walk quite a
Walking's
bit.
great. It's great. Best way to experience
Yeah,
the
well, that's
city,
the thing.
for sure.
I was like, I
And
had
get
to
hit by a
go-
car.
I had to go check out the studio at about 11 a.m. and then get things set up, but it only took maybe an hour, and then it was like, oh, I have drinks, at like 5 or 6 or whatever with a friend, and decided, you know what, I'm just gonna walk and see what happens, and it was quite lovely.
That's awesome.
Yep, it was like apparently the one clear day this month because it has been very rainy and
Yeah, Melbourne's
feels-
weather sucks.
especially this time of year. Apparently,
It's terrible. It gets really, really cold and it's raining all the time and it changes 10 times in a day. It's shit house, as they would say.
it's actually quite shockingly cold. Like I was like, I don't know if my old like youth Colorado thick skin is just long
It's
gone
gone.
from living in LA.
You acclimated.
I think so, yeah, because it's been fucking freezing at night.
Yeah, it's cold. Well, thank you for joining us. Have you seen House of Dragons?
No, came
Okay.
out while I was here. I think.
Have you seen House of the Dragon?
Yes.
Have you seen
Yakuza.
Brother Cadfell?
Have you played Yakuza?
Is Derek
like a
Jacobi
dragon?
alive or not?
I have not played a single Yakuza game.
Oh,
ever.
you should. They're so good.
Yeah,
All
Have
right.
you-
I have to be right back. I will be
Uh-oh.
right back.
Okay, she's gonna go throw up. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like it at the end.
Maybe.
It did look like it at the end.
Did I just
Kinda
call
did
it?
look like
I hope I didn't. That'd be terrible.
Yeah, that'd be awkward.
The
if you
question
actually did
is
guess
she,
correctly.
I hope
Yeah.
she's still recording. Sure, she's still recording.
She's a
Did you hear this Dune open world game? Not hear it, but like to hear the news about it. It's not like it's an audio only
Exists.
experience.
I am so behind because the thing is, I'm in such a different time zone that basically everything happens while I'm either.
Yeah, but you're still on
busy or
planet Earth.
asleep. Not really.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah, sadly not. I actually do have to bounce. I just realized I had like a minute, and I was like, you know what? I'll say hi, assuming that they're in there, and I just clicked it, hoping the Zoom
We're in
would
here,
work, and it did.
trapped.
Yeah, I know exactly. You've actually been doing
like-
like a 36-hour marathon.
I'm like General Zod.
Oh, nice. Floating. Yep, nice.
wait for
So
someone to
yeah,
touch base.
I thank you for indulging me just interrupting you mid-sentence, whatever it is. I guess Lord of the
Nothing
Rings.
important.
And I'll catch you next time. Sorry to
Oh, it was a
drive
fleeting
by like
visit. Oh,
this. Yeah.
well, good luck with it. How long are you out there for?
Another couple of days.
6 years.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
6 years. Yeah. He's been sent
I
to
don't normally
the
take
penal
trips
colony
this
of
long,
Australia.
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, normally it's like 24 hours.
yeah, no,
The
I'm not
luxurious
afraid of
stay.
of the like, in and out in a day. Even if it's a long flight, I still typically kind of, don't overstay my welcome. But this time is, a solid week. So it's
I like early morning Austin. Just all business.
yeah. No, I've had zero coffee today.
Yeah.
So you're seeing me in a like a
Normally you have to be
I-
propped up. I'm actually impressed. It's more like,
exactly.
oh God. It's like
Yeah.
Bernie. Just got to get him up.
Yep. I'm being operated by
I have my
marionette.
sunglasses.
I think you're being
Very
operated by
lovely.
yourself. That's the
Hotel, no, the
sort of
hotel
thing behind
staff
you.
agreed
Yeah.
to.
He's being
to-
operated on by himself. He's like in Ronin. That
Mm.
scene with De Niro. No, you stitch this up.
Love it.
I'm gonna pass out.
Enjoy discussing
Okay.
discussing Ronin. The score for which Ilya Smirol claimed to be the guy that introduced the Armenian duduk to Hollywood scoring, and thus Hans stole it from him.
He's stolen the show. He's stolen the show from us.
I don't understand.
Just absolutely, just in there,
How
in
do
there
you
with the
know
facts.
that? How do you know that? It's not like you're also and you're dumb at math. You're like you. It's not like you only have.
He's bad at something.
not
We don't know what it is yet, but he's bad at something.
We had a really,
just
really
ties his
funny-
shoes. He can't do it. They're just like,
Believe me, there are plenty of things like that. Absolutely, yes.
He's actually meant to be in France. He's terrible at traveling. That's what it is.
I'm incredibly inept at more things than none.
Damn it,
So
I missed
try to
again.
think other places.
it's like the bad first pitch to Quantum Leap. It's like, what if it's a guy that's just really bad at traveling?
They're finally bringing that back, aren't they?
They are, and I am so excited
You
about
got to
it.
do a guest star on it, Troy. You got to do a guest star. Go be on Quantum Leap. Go be on Quantum Leap. Oh,
okay,
bye, Austin.
Bye.
Good luck with the recording.
Go sign off.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hate that guy.
I hate that guy. He's a jerk. Just terrible.
Just
terrible.
Insufferable.
Just goes on and on, interrupts everyone all the time.
So
It's just
smart.
fucking rude.
I know. That's the main thing is I can't get a word in edgewise because he's always
No.
interrupting. It's like yabbermouth.
It's like, dude, come on.
Jabberwocky.
Try and tell a story here. Come on.
I know. Interrupts.
Always.
I honestly would love, I really hope that the Quantum Leap show is good. There's been a lot of NBC reboots that have not been. And I'm hoping that this one, I think are they doing a little gender flippies on it? Is that what I
They
understand?
might be.
Isn't it a,
Might be. Oh, no, Sam. I mean, the Sam Beckett. So you absolutely can easily do that, can't you?
Quantum
If it's
Leap?
or is it? No, it's a sequel, isn't it? It's like it's set years later.
Picking up 30 years after the original
That's
Quantum Leap,
right.
the new iteration stars Raymond Lee as Dr. Ben Song, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, who follows in the footsteps of Scott Bakula's Dr. Sam Beckett by restarting his time-traveling project and taking an unauthorized journey into the past. The question is,
Because Sam disappeared, didn't he? Because Sam got basically God talks him into carrying on going. Right. That's the end.
yeah,
of
that
Quantum Leap, if I remember
they left it
right.
kind of wide
Spoilers
open.
for the show from the 90s,
Yeah.
I guess. But like, yeah.
I'm back.
Did you have to throw up? No. Okay.
No, I'm okay, thank you.
All right. You look like you're about to throw up.
That's just my face.
That's when I knew. How was she
happens.
would have won? She had a face that looked like she was going to throw up.
She was
She
beautiful.
just had this
And I was
aura.
alive.
Yeah.
What's that glow? I need to vomit. That's the glow.
No.
We finally got rid of Austin. I was like, ugh.
He's just. Oh, I wouldn't shut up.
Nice
found out
of
how
you
you-
stop by. How's he doing? Great guy.
We didn't ask. We weren't that interested, to be
cares?
honest.
I want to get into his personal business.
Yeah,
How are
exactly.
you?
Like it's not. We don't want to get too close here.
This is being recorded. We don't want to
Easy does it.
keep it professional. on
Yeah,
the
but he
show.
doesn't watch
This
the
is
show.
being recorded.
He doesn't watch the show.
Every episode, yeah.
I do have to go.
Okay.
Sadly.
Then let me rapid fire the news. There's been
Go.
a teaser trailer from developer Builder Rocket Boy Games, which includes formerly developer GTA series at Rockstar Games, Leslie Benzies. People have been very excited to find out what Leslie's been working on. They have announced a game called Everywhere. It's an open world game that is aiming to blend thrilling gameplay, creativity, adventure, and discovery in a multi-world gaming experience.
I feel like they could
It's
have
a
workshopped that
wildly
name a little
confusing
bit
trailer
too.
as well.
Our new open world game. What do we call it? Hurry! I don't know. Everywhere.
Well, I
But
want
it
to
is.
know
You
what
see the trailer. It's just like
haven't yet.
It's literally like the promise is. It's everything. It's every game ever.
everything
It's
everywhere all at
wild.
once. It says multi-world gaming experience, which sounds cool.
You can play
They
this
showed
on
footage
Mars.
that looked like it was 20 different games. So good luck to them. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, as Troy mentioned, Dune Awakening got a trailer that is an open world survival MMO set in the Dune universe. Have there been other Dune games?
No.
There's been a lot. There's been a couple of RTSs.
Yeah.
over the
There's
years.
also, it looks strikingly like my friend Gideon Emery. And I texted him at the very beginning of the podcast to confirm. And I was like, dude, is that you? And he goes, I don't think so. And I'm like, you need to check it out because it looks strikingly like Gideon Emery.
Wow, it happens. I just did an interview with Elias Tefexis for another new podcast that I started, and I was like, "Yeah, you're in
Did he ask for it?
Dusk Falls." I did say I never asked for this to him.
I love his voice.
Beautiful
got
voice.
great
He's a
voice,
good, he's a
great
good
voice.
dude, but also his voice is just like whenever he talks, like, "Hey, Troy, how you doing?" I'm like, God,
That's just
Good in
how he
Trek as well.
sounds.
you just swallowed a chainsaw.
And I was like,
but
"You
it's
did
so
ask
cool.
Dusk Falls. How did they do that? If you haven't seen that game, it's like it looks like a series of images, but they actually shot it. Turns out like a movie." And I was like, yeah, that was you, right? Or your likeness? And he was like, no, that was some other guy who just happened to kind of look like me. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it's completely unrelated. He was cast after they had shot a lot of it. He just happened to look like the guy. And I was like, I guess that's probably how you find voice matches a lot of the time is, in theory,
It looks
probably.
like that guy.
Like, if you look vaguely similar, you'd think that your voice would suit you. I don't know.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, people tell me my voice doesn't suit me all the
Sam
time.
Lake. That's a good example.
That's true. That is true. Sony has revealed the DualSense Edge for PlayStation 5. It
Finally.
is an all-new high-performance, ultra-customizable controller for PlayStation. Yeah, it's been like a
never heard of it
while
before.
of holding on for one of those. Very cool.
No idea.
I think the DualSense is one of my favorite controllers ever, so excited to try this out.
I thought you were saying Jewel Sense, and I was like, is
The
that her last name?
DualSense.
Yeah.
We pronounce D as J.
Yeah. You also say there's no H in assume.
How do you pronounce tissue, you piece of shit?
No, I don't. Piece of shit is something different. I wouldn't pronounce tissue piece of shit.
How do you pronounce
Would you
tissue?
please hand me a piece of shit?
There's
Sorry,
no
I've
H
just sneezed. I need I need
tissue. And yet here
SS
you
does
are.
not make shh.
It does in tissue, Troy. Why can't it in assume?
I say tissue.
No,
Please
no
send me
one's
tissue.
ever heard you say
You know
tissue.
how I pronounce it? I
A
say
tissue.
hand
A
me a
tissue.
Kleenex. That's what I say.
That's very American of you.
I don't do
I'll
generic
take a
brands.
Kleenex, please. There was
Issue,
new-
tissue, assume. I got
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
All right, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
It always weirds me out when people say Tuesday instead of Tuesday. Tuesday.
Tuesday. I'm probably going to
Tuesday.
come over on Tuesday. No one says
I think I say
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Wednesday. We also, Mike, how do you pronounce the video platform in which we publish this podcast?
YouTube.
YouTube, right? Not
YouTube.
YouTube.
No, that's not how the word's spelled.
YouTube.
I love what's happening right now.
YouTube.
It's breaking my brain in the coolest way. It's a fucked up language. No, English does not make sense. I'm 789 days into French. French makes way more sense.
I did
Way
French
more
for a while. I
sense.
just have a lot of trouble with the gendered objects.
And what? Oh, it's yeah. There's some terrible thing. What is a wife called? A woman.
Yeah.
Same word for wife and woman.
But it's
Fun.
also like, how do I remember if a table is la or le?
You get a sense, right? I think
Yeah.
I've talked to people, I've asked people for whom these languages are like, and it's just like they just have a sense of the gender of things, which is a fascinating
really?
concept.
There's nothing about it
You
that's
just
like that belongs
internalize, like,
to a
of course,
man.
that's a masculine or a feminine. Like, it's like it's weird. Like, yeah, it's like it's
spelling
just
of
something.
it.
If you've grown up with it in the same way as you understand intrinsically certain things about how you understand how to pronounce a new English word, even though English pronunciation is just all over the place. If you're a speaker who's grown up in a country where
It just
there's
reframes my whole
gender.
view of that. So then it's like, gender is a very restrictive way of speaking about it, obviously, that it's probably that like there is something about a certain object that is perceptible
it's
in a way that can be
I don't
expressed
yeah,
in language.
I-
There's got to be a rule. That's
Well,
fascinating.
as well, in other languages, you have more than two genders, don't you? As well,
Yeah.
like in German, you've got neuter.
Yep.
So and I think there's some which are like 5 or 6 genders and stuff like that, which is just a sense.
Yeah, like EUX.
Humans
could
are
be
weird.
they.
Our brains work funny.
Yeah, we're garbage. New Callisto Protocol gameplay, not garbage. Haven't seen it yet. Very excited about that game. Lords of the Fallen gets new title and trailer. I never played
Nice trailer.
Lords of the Fallen. It's still on my shelf downstairs. Is it something I should go back and play?
It's a pretty trailer, but it was a pre-rendered one, so I don't know how that equates to the
mean, the
gameplay. But
first
the
game.
trailer was very
I
pretty.
played the first game.
I've not played the first game though.
I have it sitting downstairs and I've had it for a long time. I should maybe give it a try.
New animated Batman show that was supposed to be coming out. I'll read out.
That's cool. Moving out to
No, got canceled. The HBO Axe falls again.
Oh, another one.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
This was
Troy-
supposed to be the one bringing.
But the HBO stuff has been nuts. Troy,
Which character were you playing in this one? You've played like Barbara Gordon at this point. Like I
No,
don't know. You must be running out of characters.
As I understand it, and please, I'm no way speaking for Warner Brothers, Batman, DC, anybody in particular, but this was supposed to be the one that Bruce Timm was doing. So it was like kind of like the
that
spiritual
sucks.
successor of the animated series.
Yeah, I'd love to see more Bruce Timm Batman.
I freaked out next to him, man. I just There was a really cool thing that we used to always do at San Diego Comic-Con where you would go get ice cream. First, we'd have dinner at this one restaurant, and then it was always ice cream every night. So you would never be like never wanting for someone, especially from like old school DC or Warner Brothers or whatever, here. And so I was at that dinner one night, and Gary Mariano, who's the publicist for Warner Brothers, was like, "Hey, I saved a spot for you." I was like, "Here." I was like, "Thanks." And I sat down. And I got to sit down next to Bruce Timm, and I was like, I need to be as cool as I can possibly be right now. And he's just effusively loves to talk about it. He loves to talk about it. He looks like he could be Greg Miller's dad. That's what's funny about it.
Oh, he's probably a great actor then.
Who's your personal Alanah that if you were sat down in a restaurant next to them, you would be kind of, I can't mess this up, this is a hero I'm sat next to? Who's your person?
I don't have a lot of people that I feel that way about.
It's Troy.
Charity buzz.
I would care a lot about Amy Hennig liking me.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Please like
amazing.
me.
Yeah. She's really cool.
The human I have on the biggest pedestal, I'm sure I've said this on the show before, is Carl Sagan.
Jesus.
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's Carl Sagan, but obviously can't meet him. But he's the one human that I'm like, I just want to be that dude. However I
Ironically,
can.
the one human who would be very against you holding them up as a deity.
It's true. Look at me go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be worried about fucking up with Amy Hennig.
Nah, can't do it.
I asked her out to coffee and she said yes, and then I got nervous, so I didn't follow up.
Oh, she's lovely. She genuinely, you'd really get on with
I just
her,
love to talk to her. Be like, how did you do? How? I'll figure it out.
She's
one
the
day.
most genuine. She's incredible.
I had met her once.
No
in
pretension.
passing
Like
at
you'll
the
just
EA
hang out with her.
Starbucks they fucking have at the EA campus. These sons of bitches. I did meet her there, and she was very friendly, but we didn't have a
It's
conversation.
Australian to have pigeons on coffee. I gotta go.
New Tales from the Borderlands officially revealed. Dying Light 2 expansion.
Wait, hold on.
You didn't know that?
That's how Troy finds out about this game.
You didn't know that? I assumed you would know that one. New Tales from the Borderlands revealed. I'm very sorry. I really thought that you would have known that one.
Please don't give me another fight with Randy
We got to linger
Pitchford.
on this for 5 minutes.
Gearbox New Tales from the Borderland launches in October.
Yeah.
I
don't think.
Are we cutting this out of the show, or are we?
No.
This
It's look, that is a big world and a big IP. We've already told our story. Tell some other stories. I love it. I'm just excited. I'm just trying to figure out who's doing it.
Yeah, Crazy Reese is in it, but it's Nolan.
I think it's being done in house at Gearbox. I think
Fuck
it's.
off.
I don't think it's. I think it's Gearbox doing it in house.
That's cool.
I think it's Telltale. Because they're back now, aren't
Because I know
they?
Telltale doing the Expanse game.
We're back.
It doesn't say.
Mate, that was originally made by Telltale Games. The sequel will have a new storyline and new characters, and some of the team that worked on the first Tales for the Borderlands are back for its entry. For this entry, Gearbox Entertainment founder Randy Pitchford said on stage at Opening Night Live for, my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty then. I would love to know who from the team is over there, because they had an incredibly talented group of individuals.
And people love Tales from Borderlands. I never played it. I really should. I know I should.
Oh my God, you didn't? No. I need you. It's so you'll get through it so quickly.
People love it.
It's so good. The writing in it is absolutely. It's really, really hard to do comedy.
Yeah,
and they did
I've
an
only heard good
incredible
things about
job. And the story's great, and I would really love to see which choices you make. Can you please do it? It'll take you like a day.
Okay.
I should. I've still not played it.
Okay, I'll do it.
The voice actors put me off. I
man.
couldn't remember.
You'll hate me or my character.
We're supposed to hate
Reese.
you, right?
No,
Yeah,
you'll
bad guy.
love Reese. You'll love Reese. Laura Bailey is incredible. Nolan's
Laura
in it. Travis
Bailey?
is in
No.
it. Yeah.
Incredible?
She's awesome.
No.
Swoon.
All right, I'll play
and
it.
then
I promise.
Play it. Then I gotta go.
All right, thanks for watching Play Watch Listen, everybody. I'm Alanah, please moving around. Mike Billy Bigum during the show. He's a big actor, and Austin is in Australia.
In Australia.
We'll see you next week.
He's gone now.
Bye.